As we prepare the babies to go back to school, we definitely want them to think about the importance of literacy. And when we speak about literacy, we want to make sure that we are encompassing reading and writing, not just reading, but reading comprehension, oral and written expression. So this month, we are focusing on our authors, our literary creatives, and their contributions to their respective communities. So, guys, as we prepare for the babies to go back to school, I know it's the middle of summer, but realistically, some of your children are going back to school on August 1st, which is crazy to me because in Virginia, we had something called the King's Dominion Law. And so a lot of kids in that Richmond area and surrounding areas, they went to school after Labor Day. But as I've transitioned to Georgia, I see that kids go back to school earlier and earlier. So we wanted to do something different. We wanted to make sure that we were getting the kids ready to go back to school by highlighting literary creatives who are speaking about the importance of literacy. And I must thank Miss Lissha Sadler because she is the individual who supported me with putting this platform together for the next couple of weeks. And so for the next 2 weeks, and then for 2 weeks in August, we are going to talk about the importance of literacy while highlighting creatives. Lissha, welcome.
Hey, Lily. Hey, thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for helping us, put this episode and, this season together because this season is going to be super duper dope. And we're so glad that we were able to highlight some of the dopest literary creatives out there. And so I'm really excited. But Lissha, jump right in. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what literacy and writing means to you.
Actually, my event that I do, I dabble in a little bit of literacy. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm Lissha. I'm one of the fabulous co-hosts of Let's Chat Radio and the fabulous host of Hardcore Grind. Y'all, excuse me, honey, excuse me. And I also put on what's called Vision and Books, which is my book event. And what we normally do is we support a classroom. And we sponsor that classroom. I didn't do that this year because of the pandemic. We still pandemic-ish. But the year before last, we did a whole classroom because I want to help the families. And you want to help the kids.
Understood. Yep.
So you help the teachers because that package that everybody get, that's a re-up offer. A lot of parents don't know that's a re-up offer. They need that in September. August, if you start school in August, they need it again in October. They need it again when they come back in January. They need but if they got a lot of kids, it's a stressful time for parents.
Absolutely.
So I said, well, if we help the teacher, we're helping the families.
Absolutely.
And so I asked her, what do you need to stay in your classroom for that school year? And she had copy paper. And what I did was I went out. That classroom had copy paper. They had pencils, paper to write on. She wanted a electric pencil sharpener. She got her pencil sharpener. She got books for their classroom library. The kids got books to take home because even though it's 2022, unfortunately, there are children that don't even have books at home.
Absolutely.
They don't know the gift of reading. They don't get the excitement of reading. And so, they had autographed signed books from Terry Woods, who did a children's book. Terry Woods is the author of True to the Game. And that was awesome. And then a lot of other authors went after that. They were getting books left and right. I think they had enough books to stock their classroom library in about 4 other classrooms. So
it's important. And so guys, let's just be honest about it. You can't talk about literacy, you can't talk about English, you can't talk about language arts until you talk about preparation.
That's right.
And the things that are needed to sustain a classroom are the things that are needed to sustain that child in the classroom. And once again, helping the teacher will allow one to help families. So, Lissha, definitely kudos to you. Vision in Books 2022 was amazing. I can't wait to see what 2023 is going to bring.
I know, I'm excited. Everything always gets bigger, bigger, bigger. So I always want to do we always are celebrating literature and giving back to our community at the same time. But I always like to have a teaching aspect where they're learning. Because life is always about learning. We're always learning and sharpening our skills and doing what we need to do. So my vision is huge, but I have to do it in the right time. And so I appreciate you. Listen, I just want to appreciate you for coming to my event. Like, you and your team showed up, you showed out, and it was not just there to be a figure. Like, you've extended beyond that. And I just really appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate G Holla. I appreciate Leslie Tops, Christy Lux. You guys have all put me in different environments.
Absolutely.
And given me great opportunities. And I just want to shout everybody out because I appreciate y'all. Y'all always are looking out for me.
Lissha, that's what it's about. And I think, as we talk about, that service and that give back, it's about creating opportunities, for individuals, but it's also about helping people turn their ideas into concepts. Because ideas and concepts are two different things. And so I think that's what it's about. We have to all come together to really take these ideas and turn them into concepts. So kudos to you just for, Vision in Books and making it do what it do.
Absolutely. Because, a lot of times when people think of content and they think of social media, they think that it's just posting. And social media and using social media as a marketing tool is beyond that.
It is.
It requires consistency. It requires
strategy.
You got to strategize what time of the day. And if you work, sometimes that could be overwhelming. So you have to really know how to plan it out. I always say, write it down, put it in a calendar, and say, okay, on this day, I'm going to do this. On this day, I'm going to do that. Because if you don't, you're going to be like, listen, I'm just over it.
Yes. So Lissha, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
I've always been a little creative. I didn't necessarily want to be a writer. I've always in 2012, I started doing promotion for an author, and then other authors asking me to promote for them and do little things. And I just got to be able to see my creative side as far as making flyers and doing this and doing that. And I would get clients after a while that will want me to consult with them. How can I build my brand? How can I do this? Most of it is like branding, learning the business, because a lot of people don't know books are a business. You're a whole business. And so sometimes we tend to not move in the way that we should in that light. And so after a while, I said, okay, I want to know what it is to know what they deal with when they sit down and write. Like, I need to experience what they're experiencing because I feel that way it allows me to better help a client if I know what it is. Like, I can relate to this. I can feel this. And so what I did was I've actually started 3 books. They see what had happened was look,
I get it because sometimes it's just like, listen, I ain't got time right now.
And you know what, we always talk about a goal moment on my show. And a goal moment is when thought and execution comes together. And a lot of times we're very mindful because we are here to be of service, especially women. We give life and we take life, right? We're here to be of service. And we pour into other people and we give ourselves so much, whether it's work, whether it's our children, our husbands, whomever. We're giving everybody so much of ourselves. But when we give ourselves that energy that we need, it's always lacking something, and we're always convincing ourselves it's not time to do something. We don't have time. We can't do this. We can't do that. Oh no, I'm too old to be doing this. I'm too old to be doing that. I should have started this at this. We talk ourselves out of things that God has really planted inside of us to do. And not that I talked myself out of it, but I think I use being able to help other people do other things as a way to slow it down. Like, wait a minute, because it's a whole different scheme of things for me, because I'm used to being in the background. I do the producer portion of Let's Chat. I had to get used to doing interviews on my own for other people that want to interview me. It's all a process. So I started with an anthology. Because I always feel like anthologies are a great way to market yourself. Not necessarily sell a book, but it's a great way to promote and market yourself. You're promoting your pen or the things that you're able, people can hear your voice and kind of feel you. And so that's how I started. I did the anthology. Now, mind you, the other 3 books they're half done. And then I got another one in my mind. So it's like, I got to master, this thing that I've started. And so I entered the anthology for The Breaking Point, which has been currently endorsed by Les Brown. And it just so happens I got divorced, and, in my mind, it was, don't be petty about things, especially when it's things in your vision that you want, because that's going to stop your flow. That's going to stop the things that you want to do when you start placing certain things on it. And so I cut those stories short, and I really focused on this. And I started with talking about what a goal moment is. The title of my chapter in that book is called The Switch Up, because life can switch you up. And I believe that a switch up is God's divine hand moving. Because I posted this earlier. When you ask for God to move in your life, you're asking for his presence. The problem comes in is that you have that preset condition on how he should move in your life. So you're either missing the blessing or you're missing the message. Because 9 times out of 10, he's doing it. And he's just not doing it in the way we want it to be done,
or in the time
Exactly.
Because a lot of time, it's a time thing, and I think that time is relative. And so it's important. And guys, as we talk about the spirit of literacy and written and oral expression, it takes time to master things. And guys, there's no such thing as perfection. There's only one perfect being, but practice makes better. And so I think that we definitely have to make sure that we tap into that, because practice makes better. Now, Lissha, my question for you is this. So you didn't always want to be a writer. It kind of happened through other things that you were engaged in. So what comes first for you, the plot or the characters?
I'm going to say a little bit of both. I'm into I dabble a little bit in astrology. So I always, first and foremost, in names, because as a reader, because I'm a reader first. And as a reader, I'm book bougie. I used to deny it. I used to be like, but no, I'm book bougie and I'm okay with that. So that means I can't read everything. But when I'm reading, names are distracting. So but names draw you in. Everybody like that little bit of eye candy, right?
That's
so your cover, your synopsis, how your name sits on the front of the book, all of that draws people in visually. The names of the characters draw readers in as well, or it pushes them away. Like if I got to take 5 minutes to break down the name, and now I got to go to Google and figure out what you mean. Like, see, I'm not going to read that. So when I think of the names, and then I give them a sign. And then from there, I go with their characteristics. But then I always think about at the same time, okay, from the title, what do I want to happen? And so when you're doing a book, everybody has to have a resolution. They got to have a conflict. They got to have a resolution. So I'm like, well, what is this person going through? And that's really one of the reasons why I give them a sign, because all signs are always going through something based on their traits. And a lot of times we're going through things based on our own decisions. Not that somebody told us to do it, but we just, we just going along with it. And we telling God or spiritual being, just come on with me on this thing over here. And I want us to do this. And he like, well, I didn't tell you to go over there, but you go on over there. And I wanted to be able to have that. And so the Breaking Point is not fiction. It's a nonfiction book. But the other 3 books that I'm writing are fiction. And I wanted to always have that underlining plot of we go through things that we feel broken, but that brokenness is just a moment in time. We're really unbreakable. And so most of my characters have that, where
that's it.
They're in a moment. It's a moment in time. They feel broken, but they realize that I'm really unbreakable.
Lissha, that is very important. You're giving our babies so many messages that you may fail at one thing and you may fail on one test, but please understand that you're not failing every test. And if you fail that one test, get that test back, review the things that you got wrong, and work on figuring out the why. Because a lot of times, once you figure out the why, then you can go back and answer the question correctly. So I think it's very important that we really listen to the message, even when it may not seem like it's relevant, and that's beautiful. Yes.
And we're imperfect people. We all are imperfect, but we are all looking for perfection.
Yep.
From other people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so when we're in school, we're like A's and B's, and A's and B's are very important, but they're not important because they make you perfect. They just are important because they bring you opportunity.
Ooh. Yes, yes.
Like a C will still make you a doctor. A C will still make you a lawyer.
Absolutely.
A C will still get you that diploma. So
it's important. I'm so glad that you brought that out, because I think it's important for kids to understand. I remember going through, applying to different colleges, and before even applying, going to visit different schools. And I sincerely remember going to a college in Stockton, New Jersey. And what did the lady say? She said, I would much rather have an average student, like a C student, with a plethora of extracurricular activities than to have a straight A student that has nothing but books. Because what ends up happening is, a lot of times those are the kids that end up having nervous breakdowns and, of course, in the clinical world, panic attacks and anxiety attacks and things of that nature. But you need to be well-rounded. So yes, ma'am, absolutely.
I mean, and as parents, I'm one of them tigerish parents. So I'm always on my son's head. But, it's a C is still going to get him where he needs to be. Now, do we have to accept that C? No, we don't, because there is no such thing as average. It's just the average mindset. So that means that if you're getting this C, maybe you have to start changing some things in your life.
Absolutely.
Have to stop changing some of the practices that you're doing and the way that you're thinking about what it is that you're doing in school. So most of the time, if you change your thought process, everything else is going to fall in line, where your grades will start getting better. But it really ultimately starts with you. And a lot of times, depending on the grade, some kids, especially in high school, they get like, oh God, it's over. Like I call that seesaw vision. Like they know they're about to graduate, they see it, they feel it, they like, listen, I'm just the in between. They don't know what they have to do to get there, but they're not really looking at that. And so y'all, school is starting. Sometimes you got to make changes. Like I talk about the switch up. Some of the things that we go through, majority of the things that we go through in life are based off of the choices that we make. Whether those choices are good and bad, we are the controllers. We control that. And sometimes if you don't have purpose and intent for yourself, if you don't have a vision for yourself, somebody else gonna give you a vision that you may not even like. It may not even be for you, and it may not be something that you want to do. That's why you always have to have your own vision. Like, where do you see yourself? What do you want for yourself? And you start small. You know, you might have all C's this semester and you say, I want to get a B in this class, and then you work towards that. Whether it's getting a tutor or asking for help, you know, asking for help is nothing wrong with that. You know, because the ultimate goal is I'm trying to do this here.
You know, sometimes we got to know when to leave well enough alone. And I think that Lissha has really gotten us excited, given us some spectacular jewels that we need to go into this 2022-2023 school year. Gosh, I cannot believe that next year is my 20-year high school reunion, and I still don't look a day over 21. I'll drink ginger ale to that. So, Lissha, let everybody know where they can contact you on social media and how they can reach out to you for services.
Listen, I'm Lissha on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I'm Snapchat. I'm Lissha on all social media platforms. It might be Lissha or Lissha Sadler, but it's always going to be Lissha, Lissha. And Twitter has 3 S's in it. You can also hit my website, intriguingmoves.com. Parents are welcome to pick up my new anthology. 21 great authors are in it, talking about their breaking points and how they overcame that. And I just want y'all to remember, a breaking point or a feeling of being broken is just a moment in time. Yeah. That's all it is. You're going to look back on that same moment after it's over and say, oh, I got on through that, didn't I? You got it.
Well, guys, stay tuned, because the next couple of weeks you are going to be flooded with awesome literary creatives, primarily brought to you by yours truly with the help of Miss Lissha Sadler. So, guys, stay tuned.